Oh Mom, I got 10 subscribers! Hey everybody. First off, I want to say thank you so much for those of you who started subscribing to me. It really means a lot to me. It means that, what I'm doing is worth taking a couple of minutes out of your time to watch. And today we're going to be talking about pacing yourself as far as events go here in this game. So, many of you have probably noticed that next to the title on the left side, bottom left side of every little square when it comes to the events, there's a deadline, there's a date. Sometimes it ranges from, minutes up to days. So, for example, here we have one that's going to finish in a couple of days. We also have this very long one, 23 days left. We also have some that are only around for a couple of minutes or hours. And then we have specifically those the S class leveling up, which are only around for like an hour. I think it's twice a day. I don't know exactly when though. So the way someone would go around about going through these things is, in my opinion at least, the way I do it is I tend to go for the ones that have the shortest deadlines. So for example, since most of these end in 4 days, then I would more than likely go and try knocking them out as much as possible. Same thing goes for like the missions, because oftentimes the missions are related to some of these quests, and if you don't finish up those missions, then by the time the event is over, those missions are no longer available to you. So some of these events are just the quests where you do battles and you earn diamonds. I mean, yeah, memory diamonds. But then there are others where you get items. Those are usually like your equipment items or your weapons, which are used for the ranking events that are coming up. But then there are some that are really long, like this one, these story unlock events. So these story unlock events, as you go through the game, just like other events with items, you get these quest items, I believe they're called, or event items. And as they accumulate, you start getting the prizes that are on the list. But some of these, sometimes they go really far into it. For example, this one goes all the way down to, I believe it's 50,000. Yeah, so I had to get 50,000 event points to get the Stardust. And Stardust is actually really helpful because oftentimes you're going to get a character that you don't have the medallions for, so you can get the battle skills, and so you use that to quickly amp up your game. Specifically the first one, for the most part, the characters, their first battle skill involves them having a proficiency in their weapon. So in other words, it's an attack battle skill. It raises their attack. So that's usually one of the first ones you want to get into. Another huge advantage of these really long events is that they have these stories. Every single one of these gives you 5 memory diamonds. So for a total of, what is it, 12? Yes, so for a total of 60 memory diamonds. And so the way some of us would go about it is we either set goals. For example, I like setting for the first 10,000 at least. I set the goals. I go every time I'm gonna try getting to another story because I know it's gonna give me 5 more diamonds, and I just keep at it until I get to the 12th one. But then what about afterwards, where you start getting to the not so amazing items? Eventually they die down. It becomes just Stardust. Um, and so the way I would go about it is, remember in a previous video, I mentioned how the harder the difficulty of the quest you do, the more event points you get. So for this event, if I'm not mistaken, it is 2 regular sized kobolds, 1 fire and 1 water, followed by another kobold, a big kobold, and I'm not sure if it alternates between fire and water or if it's always fire. I remember it being more fire than anything. And so this is the easiest difficulty for this event. And so we're going to take a look at how many event points you get for it. It won't take long, I promise. And so, as mentioned before in the video, the harder the difficulty, the more event points you get. And so the reason why that's... Okay, now we know that it's both fire or water. Well, as you go progressing through the points, you'll realize that it's a lot easier to do it fewer times with higher points than many times earning less points. But as mentioned, these only work. The best way to get the points out of these quests is by getting an S rank. So it's important to know where your comfort levels are. Yeah, so for the very first one, you get 100 points. which isn't a lot, honestly. If you want to get 50,000, I'm just doing like math off the top of my head. I'm probably gonna be totally wrong, but you would need to do it what, 500 times, possibly 500 times. Sorry if my math is off. Um, but as you go down through the harder levels, you'll notice that sometimes it doubles, even triples. But if it's too hard to the point where you really have to, pay a lot of attention to the match, I would suggest you go one lower, because that way you can casually do it. You can focus kind of on other things at the same time. You don't have to be grilling your brain over getting an S-class job on here. And so, as mentioned, you have to score 50,000 to get all the points available. But these events are usually long. As you can see over here, it's 23 days. So you could do like an equal pacing strategy, where you go, okay, if I need this many points in 23 days, I'll just divide that by 23 and I'll work it out. Or you could do as some other people do, and they're like, I'm just gonna push as far as I can this day, and then every other day I'll do progressively less until I finish it. And that's pretty much it. That's all it really takes. And so, yep, that pretty much finishes up the video. So if you guys like the video, or if you guys want to, help support me and make me feel like I'm doing something awesome, go ahead and, comment, like, subscribe. And if you have any other questions or any other suggestions of videos that I should do, please let me know. Hopefully, I'll be able to do the next video on the next ranking event, or the next ranking event for the items. But I'm really hoping that this Shadowy Castle is done and the next quest is already ready to go. Because for this one, even completing it only gives you enough of those crystals to give you 2 of the Asuna, Knights of the Blood Oath outfit, the 4 stars. And so if the next one gives me the chance to get 3, then I can do a couple of videos on that. I don't think I'll be able to do like one solid video on the whole thing, because it would take me like a month to upload it. So I'll probably do it in segments. But yeah, so until then, we'll check you guys later.